Good Monday afternoon to you. Richard Scott here with a forecast update on the latest on Irma. Now, this recording about 4 o'clock, so if it's later in the evening or tonight and you're checking this, be sure to look for new updates because this is a changeable situation as things do continue to change with Irma as the storm gets a little bit closer to central Alabama. Here's a radar and satellite loop again as of 4 o'clock Monday afternoon. We got light rain to moderate rain covering most of central and west and east Alabama as this continues to spiral in around the northwest flank of Irma. Now, the center circulation is over southwest Georgia, moving north-northwest towards eastern portions of Alabama. One good thing out of this is we're getting a soaking steady rain, a rain that we could use this time of the year. Understand we're going into what's typically the driest time of the year into the fall months, but right now we're getting rainfall that's not heavy enough to cause any flooding issues, more of just a soaking type of rain. Another good thing is there's no threat for tornadoes here. The tornado threat is going to be east of Alabama to Georgia and the Carolinas. Our friends out towards Savannah and Charleston dealing with the tornado threat from this system. But we're on the northwest side of it where it's cool and rainy and a little windy. So what is the deal with this? Irma, a very large storm. It's affecting a large area. We've got cloud cover from about Mobile all the way to Washington, D.C., and as far north as nearly Chicago. The northern edge of these clouds from this storm, and the southern edge of that extends down into Florida. The center circulation again over southwest Georgia, due south of Atlanta, but just to the north of Tallahassee, Florida. Again, this continues to move inland and weaken as it does so. Here's the latest as of 4 o'clock from the National Hurricane Center. Winds continue to go down, which is a good thing. Winds at 50 miles an hour, moving north-northwest at 17. And if you notice where the center is compared to the deeper convection of the heavier rain, it's moving well to the north of that. So the dry air is starting to kind of wrap around the circulation center, and that is a sign of weakening. Still got a tropical storm warning in effect for far east Alabama, areas from Gadsden down to Anniston, Pell City, Talladega, Rockford, Lineville. That's where we could see some gusts maybe up to tropical storm force, but in the brown or tan shade for much of central and west Alabama. That's a wind advisory. That means winds could be a little gusty, but we don't expect tropical storm force winds in that brown shaded area. And wind gusts, again, has been a little gusty. You've got winds currently gusting about 26 in Tuscaloosa, 22 in Birmingham. Some of the stronger gusts over around Alex City, again, where that tropical storm warning is. Winds gusting there at 36, but we do want to know one good thing is we haven't seen any gusts up to 40 or 50 miles an hour yet. I do think that's still possible for parts of East Alabama. West Alabama, not as much wind. And here's what we're talking about. So in the blue shaded area, Hamilton to Coleman down to Tuscaloosa and Demopolis, between now and 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, we'll have winds gusty to 10 to 35 miles per hour. Power outages over West Alabama should be pretty isolated, but I can't rule out a few outages here or there. Now, the green shade for East Alabama, winds could gust between 35 and 45 over the next several hours into the overnight hours tonight. And again, that's where there could be a few more widespread power outage issues in that green shaded area across East Alabama. Rainfall amounts, again, about 1 to 2 inches expected over West Alabama, 2 to 4 inches from Interstate 65 and points east. And given the fact that the rainfall rates are low enough, I don't think there's going to be any flash flooding issues. We'll have to watch that carefully, but I just do not see rain that's falling quick enough, heavy enough to be a flash flooding threat over central or west or east Alabama. This is more of a beneficial soaking type of rain, but unfortunately the downside of that is getting the gusty winds and the threat for some power outages. Again, here is the radar as of 4 o'clock. Got some rain coming across the area. Again, Tuscaloosa is raining, moderate rain falling, and that includes areas east of that, Anniston towards Rockford. That's where some of those gusty winds are, around Anniston and Oxford, and some of that heavier rain that's over there. And so far the reports, we've had quite a number of reports of some wind damage across extreme east Alabama, down around the Auburn area, over towards Atlanta, back towards Macon, Georgia. Lots of reports of some tree and power line damage there. But for central and west Alabama, so far, no reports of any damage at all, which is a good thing. Hopefully that trend will continue. But we'll continue to watch this carefully. If we have any chance for this wind to increase across the area, if there's any change in the forecast, we'll continue to update this as well. We'll do more of these video updates as well, as you can join us on TV tonight at 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. I'll see you then.